it's Liz Yuille from Old Staples Crafts. Thank you for joining me again today. Today's project is this one. It's a really straightforward card if you are into punching. That said, I have used some heat embossing, but you could change the colourway and then you could just stamp. So you could use white cardstock and just stamp in black. But this is really quite a quick card to put together, and it's got some slightly different products that I don't think I've shown you before. So let me pop that to one side for the moment. I'm using the stamps, are the part of my story, which is a sale-a-bration item. You get it for just spending £45 over on my online store. The link for which is immediately below in the description bar. And here is the part of my story stamp set. It goes really well with any Memories and More or scrapbooking products or projects, but you can obviously team it up specifically with the Happiness Blooms Memories and More card pack, which is in the Spring Summer catalogue. That's on page 26, and we will be having a look at that. So, say £45. £45 you get to choose anything from this catalogue. Two exceptions, three exceptions. So, if you haven't got this brochure, do let me know. If you order a Spring Summer catalogue from me over on my website, which is also linked below, you will get one of these along with it until the end of March. There's no point in sending it to you after the end of March, because sale-a-bration only lasts to the end of March. So, shop. So, £45 is the figure to keep in mind. That's £45 or €60 if you're in Europe. Then there's the host option, which is for if you've got a larger sale. So if you're larger order, that's the word I'm looking for. So if your order is £200 or more, you get an extra £20 of stamping rewards. There's the amazing joining offer, which I have talked about until the cows have come home. So I'm going to skip that for a moment, but it is amazing, and there are details of that over on my website. And I have had people join already. I've even got my first European team member, as my team are spread pretty much around the whole of the UK anyway. My business is run very much on a virtual basis, so all our meetings are done over Facebook Live and that sort of stuff. So very happy to have people from other parts of Europe. So that's France, Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands. Lovely stamp set. This has now gone. These lovely, lovely ribbons have now gone. So any of you who ordered those when I was doing my ribbon share, well done. But lots, there's wood elements, there's designer series paper, there are some amazing stamp sets. Foil, which I've used recently, more stamps, this set, the lovely lattice, which I've got some projects coming up on that, a card kit, and then these two items at the back here, you do need a £90 order to qualify for. So you've got a set of framelets and a beautiful distinctive, but photopolymer distinctive stamp set. These we are told are going to be carrying over to the new annual catalogue, so just bear that in mind. You can get them free now, or you can spend money on them later. So this is the stamp set. Then I'm also using, let me grab my Spring Summer catalogue, the Happiness Blooms punches. There are 4 of them, and we will come to those in a moment because that's what we're going to be using. You can bundle those with this stamp set, which I have got here. I would normally use the stamp set that goes with the punches, but there are no sentiments, and I wanted a sentiment. But if you were to buy the bundle, which is £33, you would only have to add a little bit more to get the free stamp set. So just bear that in mind. The punches on their own are £21. The stamps on their own are £16, but bundle them together, save 10%, and it's £33.25. And then I'm also using, and there is a reason why I've got that there, the rectangle stitched dies. Look at them all. There are 13. Now I've used this large one for the front of my card. They're sized more for 8.5 by 11 paper, but they do work perfectly well on International A4. You can either, depending on your card design, you can either square it top and bottom, which is what I've done here, or my recommendation would be to push it to the top so that it's more of the look that you got with a Polaroid print, where you had the larger bit at the bottom. That sits better with the eye than doing it the other way around. So that's what I've used, and it cuts and stitches at the same time, and it stitches on both sides of the cut. So beautiful. And then these obviously are sized for sentiments and those sorts of things. So great for if you're not very good at cutting maps. Work's all done for you. But that is bundled with the Amazing Life stamp set. So, and I think it's quite well hidden. So on page 28, I think these are quite hidden down at the bottom, but this is a bundle. So that's why I've got them together. So that's everything that you need to know about those. So let's bring in the card sample. The punches, there are 4 punches. You get 3 flowers. Let me close them and then you can see a bit better, hopefully. So let's pop those on my hand. You get these 3 flowers. I'm trying to get it so that the light catches them. There we go. So these 3 flowers, which obviously coordinate with these 3 here. And then you get another punch, which a lot of people have been confused by, which is this one. And it's a circle and a kind of oval. And it's actually the middle of the flower and a leaf. So that's what that's all about. Now I'm using the in colours as my colour scheme, and then obviously black with white. I haven't put a liner in, but obviously you would need to. I use teeny weeny bits. So I'm going to change the colours a little bit, because why shouldn't I? So I'm going to punch a flower in each of, or with each of the punches. I need to just make sure that I am mixing them up, having said I'm going to. Don't need that, so I need the blue, and that's the spiky one I want. No, I've done the spiky, I want the less spiky. And then, so we don't need those anymore. For the leaves, and I just need 3, I've cut this tiny strip of Call Me Clover, and that way you don't get, I just need 3 of those. You can line it so that you don't get into the circle. It's easier for the centre because obviously you can pop it so that you're just going along the edge of your card for those. So I'm going to put these together partially, and then we're going to do the heat embossing, and I've got a little tip for you with that. So I'm just popping a tiny bit of the multi-purpose liquid adhesive in the middle, and then with my take your pick tool, there's the end that's sticky. I can pick up my pineapple punch circles and just pop those down. Makes it really easy. Actually, I might as well do the whole make at this point. And there we go. So that's those, and then I'm going to turn them over and pop a tiny amount of glue just on one edge of each of them. The smallest little amount, all you need. And then again with my take your pick tool, I'm going to just add my leaf to each of my flowers, and then they can be drying. I recommend putting the lid on. It is quite stiff to get off, but it does stop your sticky end from getting fluff on it, which then just means it's not sticky anymore. So those I'm going to pop to one side. I'll probably lose them in the process, but you know. And I have already die cut my mat. Now, obviously I'm going to be embossing in white, and I do not want embossing powder everywhere. The basic black is quite good at attracting embossing powder, so you want to apply a good amount of embossing putty. And I know that some people have an issue with that, and I'm going to find you a solution. Well, I've found you a solution. And the reason I say some people have an issue is because the embossing putty tends to stick to the black cardstock. But it's fine, trust me, I'm a crafter. So, Versamark ink, and I've got my I'm so glad you are part of my story ready to go. So ink it up with Versamark ink and pop it in the bottom of your card. Yay! Looks almost straight. Pop the lid on. Add your embossing powder. And I generally add my embossing powder at least twice. Okay, bring in a dry brush, and if there's any bits of embossing powder where you don't want it, just sweep those away very carefully. And you want a reasonably good brush. If it's too stiff, you might find that it flicks in the wrong place. There we go. So that is our embossing powder on. I'm just going to cover my embossing powder so it doesn't go everywhere. Get my heat tool and heat that up. And bring out my trusty cheese board. What would I do without my trusty cheese board? Apologies, here's the loud bit. Oh, I love that bit. I cannot watch embossing powder melt often enough. I love it. Right, so that's that. But of course it is covered in that chalky finish. So, once the embossing powder is dry, I am bringing in, now in the States these are called Swiffer cloths. I have found a similar product in my local Waitrose, and it's called a disposable duster cloth. You can cut them down. I happen to have one that's full, and you just sweep it over your black cardstock, and as if by magic all that embossing buddy disappears and you're back to proper black. So fold your half sheet of cardstock, which I've scored down the middle. Adhesive, and you don't need a huge amount, and it's actually quite useful to do this occasionally on black on camera to show you just how little I use, even though I've heat embossed and therefore want this to, you know, have a good attachment. That is all I use. I really don't use very much at all. And then I'm going to pop that so that it's sort of square, top and bottom and side to side. And then just pop that down. I will need that again, so I won't put the lid on. Right, I've even still got my flowers. Now, from a colour point of view, I prefer, because I've got one light and two darker, to put my light in the middle. So all I have done is gone, okay, that's kind of the middle. 1, 2, 3. You can get excited and get a ruler out if you wish, but they're not the same shape, so they are going to look different anyway. Then pick your flower up, and by the time you've popped it down it's going to be in a slightly different position anyhow. And then the only thing that I'm making sure of is that the angle of my leaves is as near as I can get it the same on each of the flowers. There we go. And then just hold those down a bit to make sure that they are properly stuck. And we have our second card. I love doing a dark background with a real pop, so I hope you found that interesting and fun. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. When you shop on my online store, the link for which is below or over on my website, please do remember to use the host code if your order is under £150, because that way you get to share in the host rewards, and of course we get extra host rewards during sale-a-bration, so always good to know. So thank you very much indeed for joining me today, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye!